Hello fellow cultivators, this video is about another build video, and this build is again one of my favorite, and it is very strong. It requires very little things and it allows you to challenge enemies which are much higher than your realm. And I guess you already knew it, judging if you look at the skills I'm using, because I've already released 2 videos using this build against a transcendent NPC while myself is at Enlightenment, or even at like this character at Nascent. And the reason we can do against this is because we are using a true damage build, which means it doesn't matter how much attack and how much his defense is. Usually if my attack is lower than his defense, I do 1 damage. However, if I'm doing a true damage build and I have ways to amplify the true damage, then I can defeat any kind of higher realm enemies against me. And so I won't bother to show those battles again. If you're interested, take a look at the 2 videos. I will either put it a card or put it in the descriptions below, the links. But instead, what I'm going to show here is again the same character using the same skill set, and instead against of NPCs. Now we're going to challenge the tower at MuXian region, while I am at Nascent. So literally the enemies which are 2 realms higher than me. So let's go to do it. So yeah, let's start with the tower battle. So initial one is fair warming, so we generate fire burst, then we just use our fire rider, switch on tornado, roam around, and meanwhile I'm using my martial skill all the time, and you can see that it deals the damage pretty fast. And here I got hit a bit, but since it's a projectile, I think I was protected by my fire rider, even though my whirlwind had run off. And I'm waiting for my skill to finish, and now just do the same thing, switch on fire rider, and I can see it start attacking me. Then I switch on the motion skill, and here you need to be a bit more careful to not get hit by his fireballs. But other than that, it looks quite simple, and in fact it takes so fast that I need to wait for my wind motion skill to finish and wait for 9 seconds of cooldown to finish, and then go to the next one. Myself, you can see myself have this little shield around me that's from No Trace of Snow, and I also have a fire behind my character that's from my Burning Blood Destiny. And then you can see I have water burst and supernova sword. So that's basically most of my right destinies. And now you can see I can use my ultimate now, because I have already killed more than 8 small enemies within 300 range. So I have to take 10 stack of wind. And now, well, the 4th level is already a difficult one, so I switch on my ult, and then again use the same thing, special skill, wind motion, so I become myself into a fire tornado. I roam around, and very fast the Tiango is down, and now we just go to the final one. And I still try to wait till my wind motion to finish, so that I become safer. But it's better you go a bit earlier, because your ultimate, which allows you to generate a whirlwind from your cell character, is actually still available now, but it will run off very soon. So it's better you use this time. And you can see a lot of whirlwind is attacking it. I'm trying to use my gourd at this time, but it fails, but it's okay. So yeah, this is just the MuXian tower. I get this thing, Enlightenment, without taking any damage, while myself is only at Nascent. So alright, so what kind of skills do I have? And yeah, I am aware that if you have watched one of my previous videos against NPC, you would know this already. However, just for people who are new, who haven't seen this build, let's talk about it again. We're using a palm martial skill. The main point of it is the internal injury debuff, which allows you to deal true damage. So each stack of the debuff will allow you to do 7 true damage with any kind of attack damage you deal to the enemy, which means you can do 1 damage to the enemy, but then with each stack it deals basic 7 true damage. You have sub-skills, as you can see, the fifth one, it increased the damage put by 14, so instead of 7, now it becomes 21 for each stack. And then the maximum stacks plus 2 here, so in the automatic max stack is 5, now it's 7. And if you have, for example, artifact spirit like Mengyi, which very important spirit by the way, allows you to increase your maximum stack by another 2, and if I have it maxed, it should be another 3. And for now it's 2 plus 2 plus 5, which is 9 stacks. 9 stacks multiplied by 21, that gives you 180. So even if you're supposed to do 1 damage to the enemy, you're actually doing 180 true damage with the palm martial skill. And this true damage can be amplified. Now, before I talk about what kind of thing to amplify it, let's just see another thing, the source of true damage, which is here, Blade of Heavenly Eye. And this is a stack destiny, which it converts minimum damage dealt by attacker from 1 to 102. And the damage will increase with realm level. This is the same thing with the palm internal injury debuff. The damage at maximum stacks also increase with your realm. But at, let's say, Nascent, so it's already like 2. Just now what I was saying, like if we have 10 stacks, that's 210, and plus 100 here, it makes you 300 something true damage. Well, to be honest, this Blade of Heavenly Eye and the palm martial skill, they are interchangeable in the sense that you can only have one of them. For example, if you do not want to use a palm martial skill, or you just do not have the enough skill fruit for palm to allow you to equip up to realm martial skill, because the damage increase with realm, right? Then you could easily use another spear one, and just as long as you have Blade of Heavenly Eye, you can still do the same thing, jump to realms and dealing with the tower in the MuXian region, because I have done it and it just takes slightly longer time, but it's the same. So, of course, when you have both, then your base true damage higher, it's always better. Alright, now this is the source of true damage. Now, second thing, you want to have enough attacks frequency so that you are continuing triggering this true damage. So, then you want those attacks to hit the enemy, correct? Because otherwise, if it doesn't hit the enemy, or it won't trigger internal injury, or it cannot trigger Blade of Heavenly Eye as well. So for that, the thing we are doing is both the motion skill, wind motion skill, and the wind ultimate. So both of these have this chance that to generate a whirlwind. For example, wind ultimate, go to the last 2 sub-skills. 80% chance every 0.5 seconds generate whirlwind at the center of the storm and from your character. So, and also from the motion skill, 0.5 seconds generate whirlwind in this center, which basically your character. So you are generating about 3 whirlwind every 0.5 seconds, so 6 whirlwind every second. And this whirlwind lasts for quite some time, right? If you look at the right side, it lasts for 5 seconds, dealing a small damage per second. However, within 5 seconds, you are already generating 30 whirlwind towards the enemy. And this combined with a wind mastery. Look at the last sub-skill. Whirlwind move speed increased by 360, that's okay, but each whirlwind automatically chase down a nearby enemy. This is very important because this allows all your whirlwind generated are stacking all over the enemy. So you are having a lot of whirlwind doing damage at the same time. But of course, just like it was shown in this video, that one good thing about this wind ultimate is like the precondition is very simple. You need to kill 8 enemies within 300, nothing else. So you don't need to use a wind martial or special skills or even the motion skill, because most of the ultimate requires you to use some skills to fulfill some precondition. Otherwise, you need to use combat expertise. Of course, this build is better with combat expertise, but even without it, because this precondition is very simple, you can use this. Also, another thing about this is like, you can see that even without the ultimate in the first 2 or 3 towers, I just simply by using the motion skill, it already generates quite some whirlwind. However, it will be much better because we have these 2 destinies. One is the King of attack frequency. I think you have seen this in one of my earliest guide videos, which is the lightning build guide. And in there I said you need supernova sword. That's the only thing you need, because this allows you to have extremely boost your attack frequency. And for lightning build, that means a lot of lightning bolts for damage amplification. And for this build, it means a lot of attack frequency in order to trigger the true damage. And also, this supernova sword, you basically, it's a guaranteed get, because you just need to finish the Taoist Mind Pavilion quest chain, and you can finish while you are in Origin Spirit, and you can get it. Another thing which is actually generally quite good is Water Burst. So Water Burst is one of the best destiny in this game. It's for every each time attack, as long as you press down your left mouse button, this 10% chance will almost guarantee trigger within a few seconds. And once it's triggered, the last 5 seconds water beam, which means as long as you're still attacking during the 5 seconds, you have constant water beam shooting out, automatically targeting the enemy. And it's basically another automatic spiritual attack, which is really great. And it also deals damage per second. And one other great thing about this is it automatically tracks enemies, so you know where the enemy is. Actually, since you are doing a whirlwind, generating a lot of wind and fairy flames all around, sometimes very hard to find out where the enemy is, and this is actually a good way to point towards where the enemy is. And also, generally, it's really good. It's very good quality of life fate. I will always suggest to take it. So now, this is damage frequency. The next step, very important, damage amplification. Because unlike against NPCs where they have less HP, where we are doing against higher 2-realm higher enemies, they have really a huge HP bar especially when you're in chaos. Okay, of course, every single of my build video is about chaos mode. Now, in order to make your 300 true damage to be actually impactful, you need damage amplification, and you know what is the best damage amplification thing in this game, which is Fire Secret Menu with Fairy Flames. You just need that one single sub-skill. For every Fairy Flame generated, your damage will increase by 8% for 5 seconds, and 5 seconds will be refreshed as long as you keep on generating Fairy Flames, and that's when you need a Fire Rider special skill. Because this allows you, while you are running around, a special sub-skill here is written, which one? The 6th one. For duration with this continuous skill, after every 150 movement distance, a fairy flame will be generated underneath you. And that means you need to be fast. If you are faster for each amount of time, you move your movement even more. And that means you generate more fairy flames. And this is why you want this sub-skill to also have this skill's agility boost plus 30%. Which itself already have 30% agility boost, make you run extremely fast. Then wind motion skill, very good because it also have agility boost. As you can see, tornado agility boost plus 140. That's the base agility boost. And you want to have some kind of agility boost destinies as well. So one thing is Burning Butt. Looks like a joking destiny, but actually quite good because it increase to 15% your speed. Also, you will receive 10% more damage from behind. Yeah, but who cares? You can upgrade it to get rid of 10% damage from behind, actually make it to be minus 50% damage from behind, which is actually not too bad, but just 2 slots of destiny wasted, so 1 slot is good enough. Burning Butt 1 is good enough. Then you have no trace left in snow, 20% agility, and 1 shield every 10 seconds. I mean, 1 shield every 10 seconds it's good in general, but you can easily get shield in other ways, like with a guide. So this is not that powerful, but the 20% agility boost is quite nice. Especially when this build, more agility, which means more speed, which means more fairy flames, and which means more damage amplification. So now these are the 3 things: true damage itself, attack frequency, and damage amplification from Fairy Flame. 3 things which makes this build work. And what makes it another thing about another aspect about this build is from defense point of view. How do you make sure yourself alive? Of course, you have motion skill. Wind motion, you are invincible. Really great. And in order to make this thing longer and cooldown shorter, you want mastery to have motion skill cooldown. And you want to have a... To be honest, if you are using a sword mastery, this will make you have the increase your duration of your motion skill, or 50%, another 50% of motion skill cooldown as well. But in that way, you lose this whirlwind tracking thing. You're losing a lot of attack frequency. It's kind of not really worth it. However, for a sword divine power, it can have this sub skill, which is where is it? The 11th one. When the sword stat reaches a certain amount, the duration will extend by 6 seconds. So this will extend your tornado duration even longer, and this makes you invincible most of the time. And also another thing is, while you are using Fire Rider is a continuous skill. So when you press and hold this mouse button, you generate a shield by yourself. It can block many projectiles. So even when you are not with tornado, with this Fire Rider's shield, you are still quite safe. It cannot, if it's not projectile-wise, for example, it's area-wise, then it cannot block it. So when you see that thing, turn on your tornado and try to keep, then of course you have this 6 seconds time, cooldown time, while you are a motion skill. Then you need to walk far away, using your shield up, the Fire Rider shield, so that block your projectiles. And also because you are still walking really fast, you can probably dodge those area type of damages. Another thing is, in the sword motion divine power, of course you have this thing that every time you use your motion skill, it reduces cooldown special skills, and that allows you, when you first use the Fire Rider, then you use tornado, and after that, because you use your motion skill, your cooldown for your special skill immediately minus 6 seconds, and if you have a correct mastery, which have 25% of cooldown for your special skills, then you basically only have 0.few seconds of special skill cooldown. So which means once your Fire Rider is finished, you can immediately use it again. So this really makes you quite safe, and that is what makes this build good. First you have tornado, invincible. Second, you have shield from the Fire Rider, and you have auto cooldown reduction to make them continuously available. And finally, you have extremely fast speed for you to allow you to walk around dodging things. And then you have the shield, generally shield from your guide every time you use any energy, as well as the shield from no tracing snow every 10 seconds. So you're quite safe as well. And that in total makes you really good against higher realm enemies. And as you can see, as a Nascent Soul character, I can deal with NPCs from Transcendent. I can clear up the whole tower in MuXian region, which makes me quite powerful, right? So, but how do you want to make it even better? So, let me show you a different character with a bit more different. Once you are, goes more, what kind of new destinies you can choose, and what kind of thing you can get. And here we have a Transcendent character. I'm not using any mind skills, and you can see a very low attack, defense, everything, but I do have the standard Sword Divine Power, as I mentioned just now, but also with speed. And I have Wind Mastery for the tracking for the Whirlwind. And yeah, somehow I show this again for that cooldown. And finally, I have the Fire Secret Menu. So basically, I'm using this setup to against Flaming Wind Shrine. And I can deal with the Pagoda in MuXian, but that will be, shield, but that will be really easy. Instead, I'm going against more difficult ones. Now, compared to previously, now I still have standard Burning Bud and Water Burst, and now I add Combat Expertise because I want to use my ult immediately instead of killing some mobs which does not available when you are dealing with Immortals. Supernova Sword still there, Blade of Heavenly Eye still there, and you do see the damage a bit higher, 600 now. No Trace Overflow still there, Alright, those are the same. But now I will add it Concealed Nirvana, which makes me much safer. It allows me to only get 15% of my HP at the maximum damage I can take. Then Conflagration, in case my damage was stopped, this will allow me to add one more stack of Fairy Flames. It can be very powerful, but sometimes timing is a bit tricky, but it's really good to have it. And then finally Blood Power to have some, life recovery. So with this setup, I can actually deal with Immortals, and which is not something you can do with every single build. Maybe apart from Fire Feast, as you know that's why it's the best one. But this is quite good. Now, again, we're switching around. I'm also using Molten Spectre's Beast skill, so I am extremely fast, as you can see. While I am turning on, basically I have turned on my Fire Rider, Tornado, and Molten Spectres. And in that way, as you can see, I will generate more than 100 stacks of Fairy Flames. And at this time, I do not have anything. So many times this will be finished, and if you do not have Conflagration. But luckily, I managed to use my special skill just in time so that I continue to generate more Fairy Flames. Now it's already 160 stacks, and I continue losing more damage. And by the way, you could, where against some higher end enemy, you could use your sword, Heavenly Art, at this time when you have 200 stacks of Fairy Flames, and it will one-shot many of the enemies. So, as you can see, 0 damage taken, 49 seconds, with an absolutely underpowered character without mind skill. So, there is another variation of this build. It's still wind and fire, but instead, if you are not really against like super upper realm enemies that you really absolutely need to keep yourself safe with wind motions, I like this variation of the build even a bit more, because, well, remember the 3 things. First, you need a true damage, which is mostly the skill, Palm Martial skill and the Blade of Heavenly Eyes. Second, you need attack frequency. Third, you need damage amplification. So, this variation is more like a standard fire damage amplification, which is what I like about it. Like, it's more general. Like, if you're using Fire Rider, you want to have very fast speed, so you are using like Burning Bud or like No Tracing Snow, this kind of speed type of destinies. Well, this variation you don't need to use those destinies, because destinies are more difficult to change, while skills are much easier. So it is more general in the sense that it can be, if you're using, for example, Fire Sword build or Fire Fist, those two are great builds, you can easily transform yourself into this one as well. So you are still using standard Fire Motion plus Fire Ultimate, which means you can use Combat Expertise Fire. If you have it, you don't need to use Combat Expertise Lightning, which is much Wind Lightning, which is much less, let's say, commonly used compared to Combat Expertise Fire. So, and then you can still use the Palm Martial skill or Blade of Heavenly Eyes, and then you can use Wind special skill, this one, which is called Wind Bound. The Wind Bound part is one of the earliest things you learn from Wind, but it's actually very good, in the sense that the last sub skill, every time it hits enemy, for the next 8 seconds, enemy damage minus 15%. However, this special skill is like it generates 8 storm that spins all the time. And I mean, let me just directly show it. Let me go to Nascent. So the point is, why you use this, you are summoning this thing, and it's hitting there all the time if you are using in the correct direction, correct position. And in this way, it got hit multiple times. Sorry, just now something I jumped out of to my desktop. But your damage will be, its damage will be keep on hitting and will be immediately drop to 0, and that makes you really safe as well. And also, you still have good damage amplification from standard fire set, and you have the true damage. So this is also quite good, and I believe I have, using this character, made a video about dealing with the pagoda in MuXian region without any mind skill, without any attack and defense mind skills. So you consider it as an upper realm challenge as well. So that is also possible, and you can find this video again either in the card or in the link below. And so in case you are not dedicated to a Fire Rider build, you just want to try it again, you can use this Palm martial skill, Wind special skill for upper realm enemies, or you can use any kind of special skills, just as you wish. Yeah, and finally, another variation which vary a bit more but the whole idea is still similar. It's like a standard lightning palm build, and you can refer to my lightning build guide for this. But the idea is pretty simple, because you only need a true damage, and you just need a palm martial skill, and then everything else you use a lightning special skill, a lightning ultimate, lightning motion skill for example, and you get up a lightning secret menu, lightning mastery, basically all the lightning set, and you still have supernova sword, etc. to increase attack frequency to generate lightning bolt, and that is a generally very good lightning build. And in my opinion, it's probably the best way to play lightning is to equip a palm martial skill. Against normal enemies, and if you're against very powerful enemies, you might consider, and you can break its defense, then you can consider changing it to a assist martial skill for stunning. But in general, that is also a very nice build. So yeah, that's basically something added to this one, and that's all about it. So thank you for watching, and if you like this content, please consider leave a like, subscribe, leave some comment to let me know what you think, and I will see you next time.